Okay, here's a problem where what it's asking you to do is to compare two different depreciation methods. You're looking at the depreciation method of straight line. Here they're using straight line over 8 years. And then they're saying, hey, what would have happened if they had used double declining balance all along? And the question is specifically saying, how much would CURTA expect to earn in 2015? That's the second year. Notice this is 2014, 2015. So it's saying, hey, if we had used double declining balance all along, how much would net income be, would it change? Would it be impacted? So this type of problem, what you're looking at is you're trying to see the effect on income. Notice it says change in net income. So the middle is what adjusts the depreciation for the middle. And it says, hey, this is what your net income would be if you had used, this is what the net income would be if we had this effect in the middle. The key thing in this type of problem is this all along, okay? You want to make sure that you're basically doing double declining balance as if it was the beginning of 2014. Notice it says at the beginning of 2014, you spent $160 million on plant assets. So they're asking you to do 2 years for it. So let's go ahead and start off first with what net income would be in 2015, right? It says here the year 2015 is expected to be the same as 2014, except for the change in depreciation method. So that means what we would expect with everything being the same for net income would be 54 million. Let's put 54. And this is net income under straight line. Okay, so if everything's going to stay the same, then we're going to earn another 54 million, and this is how much net income would be under straight line. Let's look at the difference in depreciation right quick. The difference in depreciation that you want to take is you first want to see what net income would be under, the straight line depreciation as reported. Okay, so we would have the 54 million, and then under straight line it would basically be the exact same amount every year. You will notice carefully that if you take 160 million, right, and divide it by 8, 160 divided by 8 is 20 million. So that's straight line. Straight line depreciation would be 20 million. Okay, but now what you're trying to do is you're trying to see, well, how much would depreciation be if it was double declining balance? Well, if it was under double declining balance for year 2, it would be different. And now's when you start crunching some numbers. Okay, so what you want to do is go ahead and get your amount of 160 million. And let's go ahead and do double declining balance. So we have 160 million. We'll keep it even. We won't put the numbers all after it. Notice it was 8 years. So if you have 8 years, that means you're going to have 1 divided by 8, which equals 0.125. Okay, but double declining balance doubles that. So we're going to double that, which brings us up to 0.25. Okay, so year 1 of depreciation under this method would take 160 million. Remember, double declining balance, we're ignoring salvage value. Notice we're not going over here and going, where's the salvage value? Doesn't matter much in this problem because there is no residual value. So here they kind of took it out of play for you. But if it had a residual value, you don't pay attention to it in double declining balance, except in the very last year. Take 160 million and we multiply it by 0.25. And that gives us 40 million. Okay, but it's not asking you about 40 million. It's asking you, 40 million. It's not asking you about 2014. This is 2014. It's asking you about 2015. Okay, so year 2, it's saying, what would it be in year 2? Well, in year 2, you would take the 160 million minus the 40, because that's your net book value. Your net book value, or what the book calls a lot of times book value, is the cost. This is the original cost minus depreciation taken to date, which is called accumulated depreciation. So 160 minus 40 is 120. Put it over here. 160 minus 40 is 120, and you multiply the 120 by the 25%. Just like we did here. Here we took the book value in the very first year, before we'd taken any depreciation, it was 160 million. The only difference now is we're taking 160 million and recognizing that we've depreciated 40 million. So 120 million times 0.25 gives us 30,000, or excuse me, 30 million. This is all in millions. Okay, so we have, we would have had in year 2, 30 million. The increase under double declining balance in depreciation expense is 10 million. So the change in net income would be, well, you have to go back to the 10 million to see that. So if depreciation expense went up by 10 million, that means net income is going to drop by 10 million. And that would make this 44 million. You can see the attraction of this method, double declining balance, because we were reporting 54 million. With the effect of straight line, we would have taken 20 million, but with double declining balance being 10 million more, we in essence are writing off or writing down our net income by 10 million and paying tax on 10 million less. And that's why that's important. That $10 million is not subject to taxes in that year. So you can see the attraction of double declining balance. And it fits with the greater scheme that a lot of assets lose more of their value early in their life. Okay, so if you see this kind of problem, the basic what you're trying to do is get from the net income as it exists under the old system, 54 million, and you ask yourself, hey, in year 2, 2015, what would happen to this number? Of course, they say here everything's the same, everything's the same. That's why we have 54 million. Again, well, we know straight line would be 20 million. It tells you it's 20 million. We know that double declining balance depreciation for year 2 is right here. It's basically the 160 minus the 40 million, which that's the current net book value, times the 0.25. So the 120 times the 0.25 gives you the 30. You show here that there's an increase of $10 million in depreciation, and if depreciation expense is going up 10 million, net income has to come down because that's a write-off of income. I hope you found this video useful.